What is going on, guys? Scars here, or Brian, whatever you like to call me. And today I'm bringing you a little bit of a story about what was it like to live in Vietnam. And it is quite the journey. I'm not here to discuss what is it like to travel to Vietnam, because that could be anybody's story and everybody could have a similar experience. But to actually call yourself an expat, meaning that you are a foreigner living, not visiting, living in another country, you get an absolutely whole new perspective on life. And it's something that to this day still piques my curiosity. And I got to be honest, living in Vietnam was, after reviewing back all of the things I'm going to show you guys today and just thinking about it even now, it was almost a magical experience. And maybe that seems a little corny to some people because, Vietnam doesn't seem like the country of choice for people to go to. But again, we're not talking about visiting. We're talking about living. When you live and you want to push yourself out of your comfort zone in another place like Vietnam, which, by the way, is not a third world country. Contrary to popular belief, some people think Vietnam's still a deserted jungle with beaten down paths and remnants of the Vietnam War. That's just not at all what Vietnam is. And you guys are going to see by the end of this video just how truly amazing the whole experience was for myself. And I want to share a little piece of that with you. But it truly was almost a magical experience. And like I said, I'm going to be showing you guys some video clips and images of things that I've never shown before publicly. I've never, maybe a couple of these things I've posted on my Twitter account, but honestly, some of these I've just never shown before. And I want to just share my life as an expat being in Vietnam and my short time being there. It really was a great time being in a place that isn't westernized by any means. As we were saying, they're not a third world country. I believe they would be more referred to as a developing country. But to see just the stark differences between what it's like to live in a place like there, and then coming back to, our westernized country, US, Canada, UK, wherever it might be, it really does make you appreciate, just the genuine, wholesome experiences that you have being in those other countries that you lived in. Because honestly, I feel like even today I was discussing with my coworkers about how I feel like we're missing a piece of our common courtesy. We get a lot of rude people that we talk to all the time on a day-to-day basis in my job, and it just makes me, appreciate the genuineness and the wholesomeness that was Vietnam when I lived there. Now, unfortunately, Western society, we're just very to ourselves, very focused on just ourselves. We almost kind of pretend that one another doesn't even exist if we're not blood related. And anyways, that would be I'm going off on a rant now because this is already going to be a long video. But I want to talk about my experience being in Vietnam and just how much I appreciated it. I can remember the moment, even before I got to Vietnam, the buildup and, experience getting to, the other side of the Pacific Ocean. I flew from Las Vegas to San Francisco International Airport. I remember as I was eating my pho in the San Francisco International Terminal, this is obviously an image of me eating some pho. So ironic that I think about it because I was going to Vietnam. But I just remember thinking to myself, like, yo, you might not be coming back to the US for a long time, which ended up not happening. But, either way, it's like in your mentality, knowing that I'm really about to become an expat living in another country still didn't really dawn upon me until I started eating that pho. I don't know why, but, I just remember sitting there eating and kind of counting down every minute, not in a regretting way, but more in a very exciting and a surreal way of knowing that for the very first time in my life, I'm going to be living in another country. I've had previous experience when I was 19 years old, traveling to Australia, which some of you guys have seen the Australia vlog, which I might actually put back up on my channel because I realized now I think I privated it. But either way, once the minutes counted down, we start boarding the flight. We were heading to, I want to say we were going to Hong Kong. It was kind of a short temporary layover until we got to Singapore. But we took the Singapore Airlines flight in a nice big Boeing 777. And I remember as we got on the taxiway and then we started, taxiing down to the runway. Once we got to the runway and the plane stops, that's truly when it hit me that once this plane takes off, the United States, everything I've ever known will be behind me. And for some people, that's kind of hard to even conceptualize. But the moment that you actually are on that runway and you're about to take off and go across the Pacific Ocean to China, for your layover, getting to the country, ultimately knowing that you're literally going in a direction that is opposite to everything you've ever known that's existed. And it makes it sound like in a way that you're never going to see your country ever again. But in a way, that was the mentality that I had because I knew that once I left, that's where I was going to be. So we start taking off, obviously, and building up speed. We get up into the air, and that was when I was like, that's it. We're doing it. And I had a sense of a sense of relief and also anxiety at that moment because there was a bit of turbulence, as we were taking off, because you could tell it's a bit rainy and seemed a little bit windy. So we had some turbulence getting up, but after it kind of chilled out, I felt in a weird way relieved knowing that like, wow, I'm going to be doing something different with my life. So that was quite the experience. So it ended up being a very, 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 very long journey all the way through, literally everything travel wise. I mean, I can just remember, first of all, before I even get through, to getting my destination, the airline food, they say, what's the deal with airline food? It sucked. Okay, I got to be honest, guys. Singapore Airlines economy class. I mean, what can you expect from economy? But at the same time, food was kind of trash. But it was a bit different from what I was used to from our food. It really kind of gave me that firsthand look into knowing that I'm not eating a Western diet anymore. And this is just the very beginning of that journey. Also, on that Boeing 777, I remember I had purchased a ticket for extra legroom. This photo really doesn't do justice because unfortunately I'm 6'6". So even with the extra leg room, I couldn't even barely extend my legs whatsoever. Imagine if I was just in a regular economy seat. This was probably a 14-hour flight from San Francisco to China to Hong Kong. So, I mean, this was still a brutal flight. And if anyone had seen the video of me in Vietnam, the Good Morning Vietnam video, the first vlog I did, I remember I was talking about how much my nose was bleeding on the way, traveling. I just had so many nosebleeds, and I think part of it was dehydration. I will continue to say this. If you were going to take a long haul international flight, please, for the love of God, drink as much water as you can because you will dehydrate yourself so quick. I can't stress that enough. So anyhow, to skip all of that journey, because you guys don't really care the details of my travel journey to get there, but I will just tell you, it is a hell of a journey. It is like going through the Matrix. From being in the US to getting to Vietnam was a hell of a process. Getting from San Francisco to Hong Kong to Singapore, and then Singapore finally to Hanoi. Once I got to Hanoi, it was already quite late at night. I want to say it was 10 p.m., but I was just so excited when I got off that plane. I was like, I cannot believe I'm finally here. It was a very surreal feeling being in Vietnam. Obviously, I knew I wasn't completely done because I still had to go through the immigration process, make sure my visa was good to go. Luckily, I had already paid for my visa online and I already had it ready to process. And it only took, I want to say 25, 30 minutes total to get through that. And I got pretty lucky. Some people, they had to go back and redo stuff. I was so happy I didn't because the lines there were atrocious in Hanoi airport. Anyhow, when I got out of the airport, I had already had a driver that was assigned to take me to my hotel, which was cool because I think that was one of the options when I bought my visa, was to have a driver available to take me to my hotel. So for the first time in my life, so first of all, getting to a brand new country I've never been to, and then getting into a car and driving not even 10, 15 seconds, I got into my very first accident as well.
A
managed to be in this car for about 2 minutes and he's already crashed into somebody, unfortunately. As you could tell from this video that I'm going to show you, I had just gotten into this accident, which mind you, was a very slow accident. You know, there was a car in front of us. My driver kind of bumped into them. We were probably going, you know, I don't know, 6-7 miles per hour, kind of getting out of the way, maybe 10 miles per hour, to be honest. No damage. Nobody was hurt. The seatbelts in Vietnam, I'm just going to tell you, seatbelts in taxis, Grab taxis, half of them do not work. I don't know why this is a phenomenon in Vietnam, but half of all the seatbelts do not work. So please, for the love of God, try your best to protect yourself, because I did get into an accident. Again, nobody was hurt, but I was dumbfounded. I was like in this car for like not even a minute and we already got in an accident. But anyhow, after this happened, we finally got on our way down to the hotel. It took quite some time. The airport was very far from the kind of downtown city center. I think Hanoi has one of the largest land masses of Southeast Asia when it comes to, you know, the whole city itself. So, I mean, Hanoi is a very large city. I just want to throw out there is a massive city. And this bridge that we went over, I can't even think of the name of this bridge, but it was just so beautiful. My taxi driver, as you might hear, was telling me to take out my cell phone and record it. And I was like, yeah, I can't pass this up. I mean, this is probably like the craziest thing I've ever seen. So I take, you know, this video of this bridge and was just kind of like dumbfounded with how amazing, you know, and awe I already was, you know, being in this country for not even 20 minutes. So anyhow, I get to the hotel. I pretty much am beat, but at the same time, I had so much adrenaline in my body, so much excitement knowing that I was finally in Vietnam. I think it took me like another 3 to 4 hours to fall asleep. I think I fell asleep for about, God, not even like 3 hours. I woke up at like 4:30 or 5 in the morning, which would be about, I don't know, 5 p.m. Back home on the East Coast. Now it's funny because now I'm synced to, you know, Asian time in a way, to Vietnam time, because, you know, it's 7 in the morning here, but in Vietnam it's 7 p.m. and I'm ready to sleep within the next couple hours. So if anything, I'm actually more acclimated to that time now than obviously I was at that point, because I was used to sleeping at night in the US, and then, you know, that would be the morning for Vietnam. So it definitely caused some jet lag, and I had to adjust to that for a while. But I wake up that morning. I did my Good Morning Vietnam vlog, which you guys have already seen. If you haven't, definitely check out all my Vietnam vlogs below. You will not regret it. But I shot, you know, this video outside of my hotel, you know, just seeing the bikes going through and just sitting there and just thinking like, wow, I'm not, you know, I'm not in Kansas anymore. By the way, I never lived in Kansas. I lived in Florida, but you know, if you get the reference, you get the reference. Anyhow, I just thought, wow, I am literally in a new country, seeing things I've never seen before, many different things. I can't even begin to explain the different things that I was seeing. I did see a girl that was hit on, I don't know if my video shot the crosswalk in front of me, but a girl was jaywalking across that crosswalk, and one of the bikes actually came up and hit her. She didn't get knocked down or anything because it was a pretty slow impact, but she just gets back up. They look at each other. She walks away. He drives away. If that happened here in the U.S., you know damn well that would have been a much, much bigger deal. I just thought like how crazy that was that they could just look at each other and walk away, similar to the incident back at the airport. Although I will say that since they were only going about 10 miles per hour anyhow, probably would have been a similar case here in the U.S. If there was no damage, they probably wouldn't want to go through the insurance process. Although you would be surprised how petty some people can be about that kind of stuff. And like I was saying, you know, seeing some of the crazy, just beautiful daytime views of Hanoi was seriously just amazing to me. You know, it's just such a natural beauty to the city. Very bad air pollution. I kind of knew that going into it. You know, I had lived in Vegas in the U.S. before this, and to go from that to such a much more congested city was just pretty surreal, just how kind of bad the air quality would get at times. So bad in points where I actually had to just like stay inside because I was like, I'm not breathing this stuff in. But you can tell from this video right here, beautiful views. I was on the 9th floor of this hotel, and you could kind of see the smog in the background, though. I don't believe that was fog. I'm pretty sure that is the air pollution as it is. But either way, it's just absolutely an amazing view. And Like I said, it's just from my hotel on the 9th floor. It's just a fantastic view. This was probably one of my last days in the hotel before I got my apartment. As you guys know, obviously, I uploaded an apartment tour video. And, you know, I was in a much more quiet area at that point, but still had to be in the city downtown area and had to show you guys what it was like. Also, just absolutely insane, you know, how many people or things, you know, can be hauled on a bike. Here's a video of, I don't know if this was a man or a woman taking their 3 children on this small motorbike behind them. Take a look at this. How they were able to even manage remotely to do that, I'm just kind of in disbelief. You know, I'm just thinking like there's such a huge like liability risk for that was here in the US. Again, I'm trying to like think of my minds. What if this was in the US? What if this was in the US? I couldn't believe the amount of things people could carry on these bikes. I would even see people that would be crawled in underneath the driver's legs on the motorbike just to be able to get a ride. And to me, I'm just thinking like, what the hell would happen if someone fell off? And I think I don't even think they were all wearing helmets in this video. I can't remember, but I'm just thinking like, what if someone falls off and just like hurts them so severely? I mean, people are just savage with this stuff. They just, it seems like they're so confident. But then again, you know, there is absolutely no road laws, it seems like, in Vietnam. And I think that's a pretty common theme through much of Southeast Asia, which, God, I could just go on for hours about the traffic in Vietnam, but you really would have to go there to understand what it actually is like, to understand what I'm talking about. Now, also, when it comes to the culture of Vietnam, you cannot forget about the food. The food in Vietnam is unlike anywhere, and I mean anywhere you will see in the entire world. As I mentioned before, I've had pho. I've had pho plenty in the U.S., which this might be a bad take for some people, but I almost prefer the Vietnamese style of pho here in the U.S. than I do the genuine pho in Vietnam. My friend Kevin, who is Vietnamese, has been, you know, back and forth to Vietnam before. And he's telling me that the pho in Hanoi is worse than the pho in Saigon. I think that Saigon and Hanoi do pho in 2 different ways. But the way that I had pho in Hanoi, honestly, it wasn't bad. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh man, pho in Hanoi or in Vietnam sucks. I only had like a couple forms of pho, but the genuine ingredients that go into pho there, such as using duck blood or duck fat, which was what was included in my pho, just didn't really resonate well with me. Not that it necessarily tasted bad, because I did mix both of it into the pho, ate it. It wasn't unedible. I was able to consume it, but it was just, I think it was just more of the thought that I was consuming duck blood and duck fat. And I mind you, I'm trying to be as open as I can to the food here, but I think out of all the dishes I had in Vietnam total, I think this is the only one that kind of threw me off a little bit. And Vietnamese people will eat many different things. There's cases of people eating turtle, which I've heard is actually not bad. A lot of different forms of frog. Frog leg is actually something I probably would have been open to, because frog leg is even enjoyed here in the U.S., particularly the southern parts of the U.S. I know it's pretty popular. Even here in Florida, people will eat alligator. I don't think I've eaten alligator, but people say it tastes like chicken. But then again, they say almost any exotic meat tastes like chicken. So who the hell knows what it would taste like? And yes, unfortunately, the reality is, while it's not common, Vietnamese people in certain restaurants will eat dog. Dog can be a part of menus at certain restaurants. I was at a barbecue restaurant, and I wish I had taken a photo of this because I don't have it at this time, but I was at a barbecue restaurant, ate some pork there, but on the menu, they also had dog meat. On the menu, it just says dog meat. And I mean, what else can you take from that? They literally would barbecue dog there, dog meat. Now, I'm not saying they're taking a whole ass dog and putting on a stick and rotating it and give you a rotisserie style dog. I don't think that's what was going on. But at the same time, knowing that I was eating pork off of the same grill where dog came from, definitely gave me a sense of uneasiness. But I'll be damned if I can't say that pork wasn't good. I'll tell you what. Anyhow, I've had pho. I had bún chả, which is like, you know, like a nice kind of like almost like chicken, like marinated chicken that you eat with some rice noodles or something similar to that. I can't even remember totally what bún chả entails. I've had plenty of street foods. I really didn't take a lot of photos or videos of it. I have some video here of eating some fried banana. Which was super delicious. You know, they had fried banana and I think fried potato, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it was fried sweet potato or fried potato, but either way, it was delicious. I got the fried banana every time because I love banana. And I've had banh mi sandwiches. I don't think I had any photos taken of banh mi sandwiches, but I would have those a lot, particularly in the morning because you had the egg, you have the sausage, you could put chili on it, you know, but me, I'm too white. The chili would just absolutely destroy me, probably destroy my intestines. So I never got the chili. And I even managed to find places at malls. You know, Hanoi has some massive malls. I even found a few Western, restaurants. There was a Dairy Queen. Obviously, Vietnam and a lot of other, you know, developing countries will have things like KFC, Pizza Hut, McDonald's is pretty much worldwide, so it doesn't really count per se. Popeye's Chicken, which I did the Popeye's Chicken video with This Is Ace Live, one of my really great friends that was also in Hanoi. We hung out, we did some videos together. You guys probably remember that. And then I also went to a great restaurant that I had some pasta and some pizza. Oh man, the pizza was by far probably my favorite thing. I absolutely fell in love with that pizza. It was like a barbecue chicken pizza. It was fantastic. But going back to the friends thing, you know, it was just incredible. I think this is part of where the magic came from. Hanging out with my friend Ace and some other friends that I had in Vietnam was just nothing short of amazing. Here's a funny little video. Again, these are things that I've never really shown the public before, but this is a video of me kind of just goofing off at a coffee shop with one of my friends.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah,
Can you show me your screen phone?
that's my dad.
The guy on the phone, my wallpaper that I had at that time was the president of Vietnam, Nguyen Xuan Phuc, I think was his name. And I don't know if he's the president anymore. So hopefully it didn't come off too disrespectful. I wasn't trying to. I just thought it was kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, we were just having a fun time. And I was just like, well, let me make my wallpaper the president of Vietnam, because he looked like he could be a great dad. Also included into that, one of my other friends, me and her, would occasionally find pets like cats or dogs, and she would be like immediately like on top of like petting the animal. I was a little more cautious because I was more afraid of rabies, because again, I'm not here in the US, not saying that we don't have dogs or cats, probably don't have rabies, but I was just a little more hesitant because I knew it was in a foreign country. And I'm like, what if I get bit by an animal with rabies? But anyways, there's this cute cat here.
He itchy. Oh, he fake like piss off. Oh, you know how to pose on camera.
And I just thought that cat was just so awesome. You know, just the cute little outfit that it had on. It was just so super photogenic cat. And this is when we were hanging out at nighttime. By the way, that's just a whole nother video I can make on it. But I'll touch briefly on the nighttime nightlife here in a moment. In addition to that, we found a dog kind of on the side of the street. We found multiple dogs, puppies and stuff like that. I found this cute little dog, and my friend Mai, she went up to it and pet this dog. And I was kind of, again, as you could tell, I was kind of apprehensive about petting the dog. I was like, what if it has rabies? I remember saying that in the video. And so I didn't pet the dog, but I did pet like a couple other smaller dogs, like puppies and stuff that we found. But there's no shortage of pets that you would find on the street that had leashes around them, hanging out, and just come up and pet them. So again, not being a tourist, but being an actual expat in Vietnam, I was a teacher. I actually did teach in Vietnam. This is a video that I shot before one of my classes, showing that I was at this point I was a cover teacher because I was waiting on getting a contract, which unfortunately came a bit too late when I left to come back to the U.S. But this is a video of me as a cover teacher for one of the schools.
Feeling like a teacher. Have this set up, got the board. No students yet. Then again, I'm early. But yeah, I am teaching.
And it was awesome. I don't know. It was just really cool to do something different. I've never been a teacher previously in any job before. I had gotten my TEFL certification online. I never did an in-person TEFL training. So to actually put, the training into work as a teacher, it was a bit overwhelming at first and a bit scary. But once you kind of do it enough times, you really ease into it and realize like, just glorified babysitting at this point for kids, because half of them aren't understanding half the things you're saying anyhow. You need to use big short keywords with children to teach them the very basics of English. And that's what I was doing. Also, just want to say, I've mentioned this in the video I did about preparing to move to a country or how to prepare moving to a country. Get your SIM card. I think I went to the Viatel or whatever it's called, got my SIM card. I could make a whole nother video on just explaining how the SIM card process works, but it only took about 30 minutes or so. And but highly recommend you go and get your SIM card when you first get to the country. I should have mentioned that earlier. Super important though. Once you get that, then you're pretty much good to go. You'll just be able to communicate with anyone, through your new number. And I would even still get spam calls. You can't go anywhere in the world without getting spam calls, even on a Vietnamese phone number, which I can't even understand half the things they were saying anyhow. But still, just ignore those spam calls, because you can't escape them. As for one of my favorite parts of being in Vietnam, and in my opinion, the part that just made it truly the most magical, was the nightlife. Pre-COVID, which this video was shot back in late November of 2019, before the Fire Nation attacked. If you get that reference, you get a heart. Before all of the evilness spread around the world, we still had amazing moments like this in the downtown part of Hanoi.
That's fine, man. That's fine. Good job, man. Us tall guys, man. We can only do it to a certain extent. Where are you from?
Belgium.
Belgium.
Oh,
Nice.
where are you from?
America, United States. You live here?
No. We're here on holidays.
Oh, on holiday? Cool, man. That was good, though. Good job. Yeah.
I just thought this was such a wholesome moment, being in, such a random spot. I think this was probably a busy night. This was probably a Friday or Saturday night. But I just remember the wholesomeness and the lightheartedness of this whole thing, just watching this tall Belgium guy, which I think this guy was almost taller than me. There's some tall guys, but just watching him stack these blocks, this was towards the end. He was doing this for like a good 5 minutes when I got there, and he was already had that sucker super high up. But to see it crash and everyone's reaction, there's probably some people who were there since the very beginning, and to just see everyone scream like that and then clap, it was just so great. But there might have been something you guys missed at the end of that video. Let me play it back. Why the hell did I not notice this a long time ago? I noticed this like a month ago when I started watching this video again, because I was kind of going through my videos. I was like, I want to, kind of relive moments back in Vietnam. I got scared when I saw that at first, but then I realized it was a toy, like wooden gun that some kid pulled out. But I'm like, how the hell did I not notice this? And why did this kid do that? It was a bit scary to see that, but I'm just happy it was obviously a fake gun and some kid didn't just start pulling out a real gun. So I was right next to him this whole time, dude. Anyhow, again, complete opposite of what you would see here. Then again, if it was a kid here in the US, it would have been a real gun and there probably would have been a few dead people. Just saying. I did a lot of exploring in downtown Hanoi, but I thought, I want to be part of the nightlife, but I want to go further out into the city. When you start getting away from the touristy areas and you start going more towards the outskirts of the city, you start to notice that behavior of the people of the city changes even more towards foreigners. By the way, extremely, extremely, extremely friendly people. You're going to notice this almost anywhere in Southeast Asia, but Vietnamese people are just so extremely hospitable and friendly. And I don't think you can get that experience almost anywhere else in the world. Anyhow, as you can tell from this video, very busy little cafe area. And this was pretty late at night. This was probably like 10 p.m. or even past that. I was the only foreigner in here. I think when I was walking outside, this is like pretty far into the outskirts of the city. I think I had only saw one other foreigner, like white person. Maybe there was other Asian people, but I couldn't really like discern them at that time because I wasn't looking close enough. But for sure, out of white people, I was like the only white guy around this area, at least within like a 3-mile radius. But I just remember walking into this cafe and people were looking at me like crazy. Now in the video, I don't recall a lot of people looking at me. Maybe they were trying to avoid eye contact with the camera too, but I just remember I was like, wow, dude, I'm literally the only foreign guy in here, which is just one of the best experiences ever. I love kind of being different from everybody else. I loved being the only foreigner in there. In downtown part of Hanoi, you know, people were much more forthcoming coming up to foreigners. So I would actually have a lot of people who'd come up and take photos with me. When I was around Hoan Kiem Lake, I would have students come up to me and they would have help with their English. I recall one girl who came up, sat next to me on the bench, and for like an hour, we were going over her English pronunciation. We were going over, she was basically wanting to be a tour guide for foreigners over a specific attraction there in Hoan Kiem. And I remember for an hour, I would just sit there and I would go over pronunciation with her. And to me, I'll never get that experience here in the US. I will never, never, never get that where I could just have random people come up to me. We have a great conversation. Having random people taking photos with me, you really will feel like a celebrity. And this isn't just me that's going to happen to. It'll happen to a lot of foreigners. But the thing is, I'm also just extremely tall, guys. I'm 6'6". The average height of like the men alone is like maybe 5'6" to 5'8". You don't see that many tall Vietnamese guys. And then obviously the women are even shorter than that. So for me, I think I definitely stuck out like a sore thumb. So as you can imagine, this video that I just showed you, being out in the outermost regions of Hanoi, going into a random cafe at night, I definitely had some eyeballs planted on me. The further you go out, the more eyes will be looking at you. And again, being as tall as I am, that probably increases by like 3-fold. But the next clip I want to show you guys was just awesome. You know, it just, again, it made me really appreciate the huge coffee culture, first of all, that Vietnam has, but just the cafe culture in general. You will notice there's a huge coffee cafe culture that surrounds Vietnam. Particularly, I think Hanoi is really, really big into it. But I just thought this was a really just nice, wholesome moment of watching this live performance. So anyhow, I did this for a while, kind of wash, rinse, repeated this process every day. I absolutely fell in love with it. And I still to this day feel like my time was cut short. But I remember my very last night when I was in Vietnam. Vietnam had just won a very big soccer game, or, you know, in their country it would be football. And I just remember the energy of the city, and I just thought how ironic this was too, to just have such a big celebration on the very last night in Vietnam, which was such a bittersweet moment. And I had made a video as to why I left Vietnam. So if you guys haven't checked that video out, make sure you go to my YouTube videos, check that out, and I will give you more explanation. But I just remember, again, this very last night being out, just the energy that comes from this city over a football game, over a soccer game that they had just won, was just nothing short but incredible. So just, you know, take a look at how insane this was. Anyhow, I remember I had gotten sick pretty much shortly after this. I remember I started getting very congested this same night too. And no, before you ask, I do not believe I had COVID because COVID wasn't even really a thing at this point. It was still centralized probably in Wuhan. But this was like, a bit, after, some time spending there. So who knows? Maybe there was the very beginning remnants of COVID starting to spread. And, that wasn't officially tracked. Anyhow, I don't want to go off on some weird government conspiracy theory because I doubt that's what happened. I'm pretty sure I just got the common cold or flu. I just remember how hard it was to leave Vietnam. I really had no choice. Unfortunately, I had only just gotten offered a teaching contract right before I left. And as I explained in my leaving Vietnam video, teaching in English in Vietnam is an easy process if you have a degree. I do not have a degree, so I had to kind of go through a more, tough process to get into it, which by the point that I was offered the contract, I had already kind of eaten into my bills a lot, and I had already gotten a return flight back to the U.S. So at this point, I'm just like, I have no choice but to come back to the U.S., and that's kind of what happened. So I remember taking my flight back to the U.S. And seriously, I wanted to cry. I was like, I'm leaving behind such a magical experience that I had. At Disney World's got nothing on Vietnam. Just saying. You want to talk about true magic? Take yourself to Vietnam or just any other Southeast Asian country, and I promise you will have a similar experience. And I just remember getting back to the U.S. and thinking, I have to do that again. There's no way I'm living the rest of my life doing my 9-to-5 hamster wheel job here in the U.S. and not get the experience or the opportunity to go back out and be an expat again. Will that happen some point in the future? Sure. I could absolutely see it happening. As you guys saw in the last video, I am renewing my passport. I have not gotten it back. I might actually expedite the process just so that way I can have it quicker in case I need it. But I really, truly do not see myself living in the U.S. for the next 40 years, hamster wheeling myself through life in the same spots. I really do want to experience these kind of things again. And as you guys can see from all the photos, the videos that I've showed you, it's not hard to tell that living in that way was nothing short of amazing. You don't really get to see things like that all the time here in the US. Again, everybody is so to themselves, right? Everybody just wants to stick to their own thing. Everybody wants to be better than the next person, it seems like. Here, it seemed like everybody was together on everything. And being a foreigner in this country, it was so easy, even though nobody could really speak the same language as you, or at least not great. Everybody would make effort to go out of the way to help you with things or to want to talk to you about things simply because you're a foreigner and just because, again, genuine kindness, wholesome personalities. And I'm going to miss that. I really am. And again, I don't want to leave that opportunity to be able to do it all over again. Anyhow, I have no idea how long this video has even gone on for. I could go on for, hours talking about Vietnam, but I hope these, videos, images, and the story has kind of given you guys a little bit of perspective as to why I love the experience so much. I'm not going to tell you, okay, because I enjoy this experience because it's great for me, I'm telling you guys to go out and do it yourself. That's not what I want this video to be about. I'm not telling people or encouraging people to go out and live as an expat in another country just because I had a great time with it. You might have a completely different experience. I would greatly, greatly, greatly recommend that you go out and you visit a country first before you become an expat. You should never just get up and go and live in another country without knowing what it's actually like. Did I do that? You better bet your damn self I absolutely did that. But I already knew in the bottom of my heart that that's what I wanted to do. My mom even told me she knew that I had travel in my blood. And 2 years later of being back here in Florida, I think about it every day about being back in a new country again. Southeast Asia is a place I would absolutely love to be back in, and it is a very real possibility in the future that it will happen. But right now, I have to figure out myself before I can, put myself in that situation again. And again, you have to mentally put yourself in a place where you know that you're not just going out to a country to visit, but you're going out there long term, meaning you are willing to make sacrifices and changes to your life that you otherwise never would have thought about. So again, I hope this tells you guys a little bit about my process, my feelings about what it was like to be an expat in Vietnam, and just, again, how magical and amazing the whole thing was. But if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure you leave a like. It would be great if you guys have any stories about being an expat or just even visiting a country, leave that in the comments below. I would love to read everything you guys want to share about your travel experiences. Do you have future travel, plans? 2022 again is a huge year. I'm pretty sure I just read an article, like an hour ago, that Philippines, for example, is opening back up like February 10th for tourists. I think that are fully vaccinated, but I mean, that's huge. That's a huge deal. They were cut off to the whole world. So that really goes to show you, particularly at least Southeast Asia is really starting to open back up. And I would say by the end of this year, I think we can get back to a better norm. So if you guys have future plans to travel, or if this video has encouraged you to do so, please let me know in the comments. I want to hear about all of your experiences. Anyhow, again, leave a like if you enjoyed the video. If you're a new subscriber, or if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.